Hi friends, Molly Ponpadith here, CEO of the SOAR Community Network and co-founder of the SOAR Community Nebula. Our goal this year is to highlight 1,000 champions of change and community builders, and today I'm so delighted to bring to you Miss Shelly Bell. Shelly, thank you so much for being a part of this global initiative.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I am so excited. So I like to start off the interview by asking you to share with our community who you are and the work that you're currently doing in the world.
Yeah, my name is Shelly Bell. I'm the founder of Black Girl Ventures. We work to create access to capital for Black and Brown women founders. Our events are like Shark Tank with an audience, except everybody's a shark. So the community gets to donate and be a part of the experience. The community also votes on who wins.
That's great. So how long has this been going on, and what was your inspiration to launch it in the first place?
Yeah, we've been going, this has been about 2.5 years now. So my inspiration was around building businesses on my own and having an opportunity to have someone invest in me. My mom, who had her retirement, who gave me some of her retirement to launch my first business. Well, not my first business. I've always been entrepreneurial. I've always been doing something. but and then with Black Girl Ventures, we found that Black women are not receiving access to capital. So Black women are starting businesses at 6 times the national average, yet receiving less than 1% of venture capital. And I'm like, well, what could we do? And through being an artist and like performance poetry, I lived many lives. But in one of those, I used to do a lot of art in gathering people. I'm like, well, I know how to gather people. Let's just gather people, throw some money in a pot and give it away. So it's 30 women in a house in Southeast DC, pulled together. I cooked all the food myself, which I would never do again. And we got together and 4 women pitched their business. We literally voted with marbles and coffee cups. Like we put everybody's name, it was pitched in a coffee cup, and you took your marble and you put it in the cup for the person that you like most. And the pitch that you like most. And I gave all the money right back out in cash. I didn't think twice about it. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. So I kept doing it. And now here we are 2.5 years later. This is the 3rd year. We have gone to 7 cities. We will go to 9 cities this year. We funded 16 women. We got a little over 100 women in our pipeline. And our applications are rolling on a daily basis. So I'm just excited about being able to create this change. Like when I do this, and I see, like at South by Southwest in 2018, the woman who won, she actually drove from Houston to Austin and ended up winning. And she cried for like 5 minutes. And she's like, this is my first win. You know, I'm just, it's consumer validation because you're pitching directly to the audience. And I looked at her and I thought, whatever I have to do to continue to create these moments for women, I am all in. And we see that response across the country. It's like people who may or may not have ever won a pitch competition. Because in our competition, you're getting not just your pitching your idea to a bunch of people, but you're pitching directly to your potential consumer. Mm-hmm. So I decided to not have judges because that feeds right into the idea that only a small percentage of people get to make the decisions. So we've gotten so big now that we do have to have a panel of people that give feedback, but I call them champions, not judges. And the entire audience gets to vote on who wins.
Oh, I love that concept so much. What a smart lady. I really appreciate that. That's really innovative, but it's also so inclusive. And I think it also, regardless of whether you win, if you're on stage pitching, it's a different kind of feedback. It's a mass feedback. It's a group feedback. So you feel more nurtured and loved, even if the feedback may not be so positive at this phase of your business, because if a whole bunch of people are saying it, you can receive it better than 1 or 2 people who might just be having a bad day or be critical. I think that's a really good way to also provide constructive criticism in a loving and nurturing way. So kudos to you for that format. It's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I tell the women, so before everybody goes on, and before the event starts, I always meet with the women separately, and I tell them, you've already won. Like, this is not about winning in this way, right? Like, I'm pretty sure the CEOs of Wendy's and McDonald's play golf together, but they're obviously competitors. And so I want them to think about it in the same way, that like in this world of business, we have lots of competitors, but everybody just continues to sell. It's not a matter of the win or the loss. So know that you already launched your thing. Like, you just met Black Girl Ventures, but before you got here, you had launched, you sold something, or you providing a service, like you're already receiving revenue. So we are really not the end all be all, and neither is anybody's word or pitch competition the end all be all for what you can do and your ability. You have already won, and this is about community. This is about social capital. This is about you meeting people you may not otherwise meet. This is a speaking opportunity, you know? So just trying to get them to see that, like, and the warmth around it. Once you come to our competition, you're not gonna be able to attend a pitch competition the same, because we're not stuffy. Like, I open with a poem. We do call and response. Like, I am all about the fact that we cannot sit here bored for the next hour and a half and listen to people pitch their business. That does nothing for the energy that needs to be created in the world at all.
Well, let's move to the next question, which is, where in your life have you experienced personally that extra level of love and kindness and empathy that really has positioned you or helped shift you in a profound way to be the woman that you are today and to have such a strong belief in yourself and your own success?
Wow, that's such a great question. My parents, so my brother is 7 years younger than I am. So I was the only child for a while. And I had such a full childhood. Like, I had all these teddy bears and every board game or doll I could think of. And I never really wanted a whole lot, but I just wanted what I wanted, and I always had that. So it wasn't that I had to have like the Jordans or the newest whatever, but like I was just okay with I have my kids and my shoes that I wanted. So it was never really like a base around material things, but it was always a base around family. Mm-hmm. My grandmother on my mom's side had 10 kids, and then all of them we're highly fertile, and all of them have kids, and all of us have kids. And we were the family that would get together on Sundays. We were the Sunday dinners. We did a lot of gathering, a lot, like if you didn't have friends, you had cousins. And so like this idea, and I tell people with Black Girl Ventures, I'm just recreating my family. Like every initiative that I've started, I'm just recreating my family. And I'm recreating this idea that like with enough conversation or with enough just like collective identity as being American, as being women, as being human, that we could find some common ground, that we can break bread together, that we could high five each other when we feel whatever, that we could pat each other on the back and hug each other, because that's just how my grandmother was. My grandmother was a real, like, if they're hungry, bring them in here, child. I'm from North Carolina originally. So I told somebody that, and it was like, oh, so it makes sense why you cooked all the food and brought people into a house. I'm like, yeah, like, I've been surrounded by this, and it wasn't all peaches and cream. It wasn't like everybody was A1. People had their different, we might have differences, but one thing we knew for sure is that if you're supposed to pick me up from work tomorrow, you better pick me up from work tomorrow. And we just ride in the car in silence and be mad at each other. But one thing's for sure, we're going to still support. And I took those lessons because my grandmother was all about that. She was really about that, like, you don't fight with each other. And even if you do, you figure out how you're going to get past it, because we have a collective energy here. We have a collective family thing happening. And I would say I got that from her.
That's beautiful. Yeah, grandmas are the best. I miss my grandma every day, but they teach us so much. There's a different level of sharing and love that grandmas have with their, or grandparents have with their grandchildren. It's incredible. Okay, so as you travel into these cities and you're meeting these women, these powerful Black and brown women who are using their gifts and their talents to build these incredible businesses or organizations, I know you probably come across a lot of community builders and change agents, right? Inevitably, those types of personalities, I think by default, make them champions of change. But is there an overarching theme or attributes that consistently show up when you think of a change agent or a change maker?
Yeah, resilience.
Mm.
I think that will probably be one of the biggest ones. It's like we got to get back up. You know, things knock you down, things that make you feel so well, or just like you physically don't feel so well. It is like, how are we resilient? And then how do we surround ourselves with really good people? Even if you don't have a full blown large team, you know, I've seen the change agents that around me surround themselves with really great people.
Those.
And that has been the thing that keeps you afloat, you know, because then we actually, I feel like from an ecosystem building standpoint, the Kaufman Foundation does this summit called Isha, and it's all ecosystem builders from like almost 400 something people from around the country and beyond. And that is such a special time because it's almost like a big family reunion. Like they've been doing it. This would be the third year that they did it. And the first year, not all of us knew each other, you know, so we kind of like got to know each other. There's people that I made friends with there that I still am in contact with on a regular basis. And now we can kind of recognize each other when we're out or traveling, or if I'm going into a city, I can always have a place where I can call somebody. I know somebody's here working with entrepreneurs. Where are you at?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I would say like resilience, this inherent push toward community, even when community doesn't have to be proximity and doesn't have to be that we're the same race, age, ethnicity, any of that. So I think people value that when you work with entrepreneurs every day.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, I love being around innovative people and unique, eccentric people because they're operating at a different level. I mean, their brains move so fast, and you really get a lot of different perspectives when you're hanging out with people who are high energy, who are highly creative, poets, musicians, artists. Right? Their brain is just designed to go above and beyond the norm. So, all right. So the next question I have for you: what causes and movements are you really entrenched in, and how are you utilizing your gifts, your talents, and your life experiences to move those movements and causes forward?
Yeah, so women's, you know, advocating for women in general. With Black Girl Ventures, I work with Black and brown women, minorities, but ultimately, I'm passionate about women in general. I'm also passionate about moms and education and children. I was a teacher for 7 years. I taught computer science, I taught computer programming. So I'm also passionate about women in tech and equity. Um, Everybody thinking like an entrepreneur or thinking like an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Like those two things are really dear to my heart because people might think I'm a little crazy, and I'm like, yeah, put an engineer and an entrepreneurship together, and you got a crazy
Right.
person.
And on top of that, you're an artist, so now it's crazy, crazy.
All of that. I'm really passionate about, and I don't know if it's a cause, but people understanding money. There's so many money experiences that we all go through, right? And when I do this talk, I talk about how like my first experiences around money was like being like, hey, I want some McDonald's, and my dad being like, you got some McDonald's money? And I'm like, oh, McDonald's needs money. You know, so like I gotta give McDonald's money. Oh, that's how, you know, and you go through these different instances of finding out about bills, and you're like, oh, I gotta pay for lights. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you mean all the time we had lights in our house, it wasn't just like free, you know? Like, and you're coming into yourself as an adult, and I'm passionate about people because that's also like certain hacks and intricacies to access to capital that in certain communities you don't talk about. You don't talk about property. You don't know how much your parents make a year. You don't understand credit. You just know it's an available pool of capital. but you don't understand that credit bureaus don't really know how much you make, right? They're only based on what you do off of your money activity. Yeah. So like, it's like, watch your money activity. You know, like it's like these parts of access to capital that have not been talked about in a wide scale. I'm passionate about pushing that and forward. I would say the way I am leading and working on that throughout my life is, with one, I'm writing a book. So I'm working on a book. It's 25 ways to access capital to grow your business. I'm also working on just turning that into like courses and workbooks and things like that, and doing more talks around the money experience, doing more talks around access to capital. Since in this arena, I work on alternative access to capital for people outside of investment and banks and things like that. I'm passionate about that, and I'm leading my life talking about that all the time. Even just like access to capital through customers. Well, like, how do you get more customers? You know, how do you use technology? How do you use your social strategy? How do you use your branding? So I'm constantly doing workshops and talks on these things.
That's great. Well, when life gets you down and things are not smooth sailing for you, is there a quote, a motto, or a philosophy that you look to and that helps you move forward?
So my motto is resist the urge to be average. And what I mean by that is, average. Stop dividing yourself by the sum of everybody's experiences. Like, you're not your collective is somebody else's. Everything that we base everything off of is just a collection of experiences. That's all we have, right? Even when we go deeper with science, it's a collection of experiences. It is the planet having a collection of experiences. It is people having a collection of experiences. And then we say, oh, you know what? 1 million people have done this. That means that's it. That's all there is. And it's like, oh, but then 100,000 more people had a different experience. Oh, but oh my God, it's like 1 million people up here had a different experience. You know, so it's kind of like you're co-creating constantly with the universe. And you're as long as you can create, you can move forward. So resist the urge to be average is huge for me. Even in those moments where I'm like, just want to retreat. And you have to have your retreat moments, and you have to cry, and you have to do your things to stay. Because I say that, like, entrepreneurship is really the study of self toward how you make money with your capacity and intelligence. That is where it's like you're studying yourself. So how much ingenuity can you have to make money with your own capacity and your own intelligence? And it is a huge, they say, if you want to get closer to God, become an entrepreneur.
Ain't that the truth? So Miss Shelly Bell, last question. What does a better world look like through your eyes?
Oof. My better world is probably kind of like Switzerland. Where like things just make sense to do, right? So you don't have to put 10,000 rules in place for them, because if it makes sense, then it just makes sense to do, like, for everybody. Like, and if it no longer makes sense to you, then that's fine too. You know, okay, did it hurt somebody? You know, like I think like probably fairly self-governed or community governed, where people's actions are respected, whether we understand them or not. I mean, especially things that don't hurt people, right? Like, of course, I'm not talking about, like, I don't believe people should hurt other people, but I do believe that, you know, you should have choice. You should a self-governance around what feels best for other people. You know, it's interesting because when people say, like, people loving themselves, I'm like, our bodies are actually not built for us to look at ourselves at all. Everything about us is built to serve other people. If it wasn't for somebody making a mirror, the closest thing we would have to a reflection is water. And that's fluid. So, you know, when we think about that, it's like, my eyes are made for me to see you. My arms are made for me to touch you. My legs are made for me to walk towards you. Right? Like, there's nothing about our bodies that's actually meant for ourselves per se. So I feel like if we took that very human core of that and like and everybody's purpose or everybody decided that we're gonna serve other people better, therefore we would be served better because other people would also serve us better.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we can create something super special.
Wow.
So it may be kind of dreamy, but yeah.
It has to start with that dream, and it has to start with sharing that hope, right? And that's what we hope to do here, with you sharing your vision for a better world, and 1,000 other people sharing their vision and finding all the commonalities where we can create that together. And that is such a place of blessing and a place of joy to know that we get to co-create this community, this ecosystem together. So Shelly, thank you so much for creating your ecosystem, your community, and then extending that to our community, because we are better together and serve better together. So appreciate all the work that you're doing. And we are so delighted that you are now a part of our SOAR community network. You know we exist, we know you exist. So thank you again for your time today.
Thank you.
For those that are watching, I hope you got a lot out of the interview today with Ms. Shelly Bell. I thought there were some very, very cool tips and insights that she shared. Please remember that you have something to say. Please nominate yourself or nominate someone in your community who's making a huge impact. We want to feature you and spotlight your great work. Visit us at nebula.soarcommunitynetwork.com. Thank you everyone for following us, and we'll bring you another amazing change agent very soon.